This video is one of a trio that provide quick reviews of the Escape the Dark Castle adventure packs and that supplement our main review of the game. We hope that together these videos form a useful buyer's guide for Escape the Dark Castle, whether you are starting or expanding your experience of the game. Unless otherwise stated, any views I expressed in the main review remain relevant with the expansions in play. Links to the other videos in the series will be included in the video description as they are published. Thanks for watching. If you've already enjoyed our review of Adventure Pack 1, some of the features of this second rising are unlikely to surprise. You can add the Undead Queen and her minions to your games without any of the other adventure packs, and although the core box is required to use the adventure packs, you can play through the 15 chapter cards and boss card included as a separate or new playthrough, or alternatively, and this is certainly my preference, shuffle them into the chapter cards from the core game to give yourself a wider range of chapters when you assemble your random chapter deck. Given that one of my criticisms of the core set was that the number of chapter cards included made it statistically likely you'd encounter the same chapters repeatedly over multiple playthroughs, it will be no surprise that I feel these additional chapters add much needed replayability to the core game. By the time you've bought all 3 adventure packs, should you choose to do so, you will have doubled the chapters in the original game. However, as all the adventure packs include the same number of additional chapters, it is the other components included that differentiate them from each other. Adventure Pack 2 deviates the most from its 2 siblings by introducing companions, characterful personalities that will join your party, if perhaps only temporarily, to aid your escape. The Guard, the Witch Hunter and the Spirit of the First Prisoner may now be drawn from the item deck, at which point you will have an ally to improve your odds of escaping the castle. However, one face of their character dice features a new symbol which will trigger their characterful but final mechanic. Often this will rescue you from your existing chapter, but as it removes your ally from the game, players will wish to choose when and how they use these allies carefully. They will also usually have much less health than a character, and may therefore take up your rest slot more often than you would wish. In the games we have played, the arrival of these companions is always welcome, and feels like an unexpected story bite in the normal progression of chapter by chapter combat. Each plays a little differently. The Guard aids the defence of your party considerably, but with extremely limited health of their own. The Witch Hunter can take more of a hit and can hold items for the party, with the obvious risk that these may be lost if their special ability triggers. Meanwhile, the Spirit is the only companion with the potential to appear more than once in a single playthrough, but has limited actions in the mortal world before they must return to the ether. Whilst definitely a boon, the presence of these allies is not sufficient to make escaping the castle easy, just easier, and are probably on a par with the item deck's more powerful weapons. The companions fill the space that would otherwise be taken by additional character options in the other 2 adventure packs. So if more variety in your main prisoners is a priority, then this adventure pack won't be your first choice. But they undeniably add a bright spot of variety to the format, even if their arrival is unpredictable, and, being 3 cards in an already large item deck, far from guaranteed. Of course, this only makes their arrival more of a surprise when it occurs. In addition to the 3 companions, 2 further item cards are added to the deck. The spellbook adds a magic casting mechanic as an alternative to the normal roll of your character die, with exactly the amount of ineptitude that would probably ensue if you found an arcane tome and started randomly chanting spells out of it in real life. The ritual chalice, meanwhile, creates a mechanism for evening out the health of the party, which may be circumstantially useful if you find one character has taken more than their fair share of beatings during the escape. As for the new chapters, the undead theme was always going to resonate with me, so I find it hard to be objective. However, they provide a good variety of additional challenges. Highlights include the horde of skeleton warriors which can, and I quote, sense weakness, because reasons, as well as the resurrected king, which without spoiling the surprise has the potential to elongate your escape and thereby reduce your chances of defeating his queen. The Queen herself is everything you'd want from a mistress of the undead, Characterful and different, not the most challenging boss out of all of those in the game, but still more than capable of adding your unwitting prisoners to her shambling legions if you make a shambles of fighting her. If there's anything to criticise about this adventure pack, it's perhaps the fact that the various components feel like a bunch of new ideas thrown together in a box, rather than forming a coherent and connected collection in the same way as Cult of the Death Knight or Blight of the Plague Lord. The companions don't really relate to the adventure playing out in the new chapter cards, aside from the tenuous correlation that one of them is a spirit, and the items are another separate element again. Whilst this does make the set quite adaptable, in that you can add any single element to your game without the others if you so choose, it does feel like the promise of a themed adventure against an undead horde is left unfulfilled. Only the chapter cards address the Queen and her minions, and without the likes of a curse or plague mechanic, there is nothing to truly alter the atmosphere of the base game. Fun though the companions are, speaking as a fan of the undead theme, I'd hoped for just a little more from this one. The Scourge of the Undead Queen adventure pack is, in many ways, the antithesis of the Cult of the Death Knight box, largely providing additional benefits to your players to ease their escape. If any of the three adventure packs are worth slotting into games with newbies around the table, this is probably the one, given that it will ease but not completely remove the challenge of an escape, although this is, as always, a little dependent on the luck of the card draw. It also doesn't greatly increase the complexity of the game or introduce a major new mechanic. It's a nice return to the world of Escape the Dark Castle, and one I would definitely recommend adding to your games. But would I recommend it more than the third and final adventure pack? To be continued. I hope this short video gives you an idea of what to expect from this expansion and helps you to decide whether it is worth your valuable hobby money. We'll return to the castle soon to cover the final of the three adventure packs. If that video has already been published, you'll find the link in the description. If not, consider subscribing. If you don't, we'll, I don't know, tell the Queen, I guess. While you're at it, consider checking out our main review or our expansion review of Adventure Pack 1 if you haven't already, and The Cook's Tale, our atmospheric narrative playthrough of the core game, which we hope conveys the feel of a really good game of Escape the Dark Castle. Themeborne seemed to like it, so maybe you will too. Always look on the bright side of undeath, fellow prisoners, and remember to always work hard, play better, and take care out there.